That's the mosque here, like which is Fatehpuri Mosque.
Good morning from one of the most populated countries on earth.
Okay.
Welcome to
So
India.
he married to Mumtaz Mahal, he already married to
This is my first time in India, and I've just met up with a friend who I met here in Delhi yesterday, and he's agreed to show me around a few places here in Old Delhi.
Right now we are walking through one of the oldest and busiest spice markets here in Old Delhi called Chandni Chowk.
Yeah, I want to look.
We have people selling everything here, from clothing to food, spices, tea, art, anything you can think of, you could find here.
Yeah.
The air is filled with the smell of curry and masala and other spices from all these stores selling this food out in the open like this.
And of course you have people selling other things as well.
Smells very good. The market's history dates back to the founding of the capital city of Shahjahanabad, when Emperor Shah Jahan established the Red Fort on the banks of the Yamuna River beside his new capital. As I mentioned before, this is one of the oldest markets in India. It was built in the 17th century by the Mughal Emperor of India, Shah Jahan.
We are now going down an alley that I hope leads to some other cool shops on the other side. This market was originally built in the shape of a half moon, and it had a pool in front of it that would reflect the moonlight at night. This pool was replaced by a clock tower in the 1870s. This market used to be divided by canals filled with water that were used to reflect the moonlight. Those canals are no longer in existence, but you can imagine what that must have looked like back in the day. A shallow water channel ran through the middle of the main road in this market, and there were shops and roads on either side of this channel. This channel was built from the Yamuna, which is the second largest tributary river of the Ganges River. The Ganges River is most sacred in Hindu tradition, and it is the lifeline to tens of millions of people who live in its basin and depend on it for their daily needs. It's so busy here and there are so many people, and you can see above all these shops you have apartments just stacked on top of each other. This is due to the insanely high population that India has. Many things have changed from those days, but one thing remains the same. It's still a crowded hub for business where people can buy and sell things just as their ancestors did before. The traffic and the street congestion here is insane. It's like nobody follows any of the traffic rules here, and it's pretty much every man for himself when it comes to trying to get anywhere. My first time in a car here in India, I was going from the airport to the place I was staying, and my driver took the highway and we hit a little bit of traffic, and we came to a standstill. So he turned around and went the opposite way into oncoming traffic to find a better route, like down a side street, to get to the hotel. I thought that was pretty wild because that's nothing I've ever experienced riding in a taxi anywhere before. We are now about to hop into a rickshaw to continue our journey through this market. People also really like to use their horns here. And it's not so much them being rude, it's more so letting other drivers know where they are so they can avoid accidents since there's so much traffic and it's so busy in the streets. But it happens so often, it almost seems like their horn is attached to their gas pedal or something. The bazaar was famous for its silver merchants, which may have contributed to the name because silver is referred to as Chandi in Hindi, a slight variation which forms Chandni in Chandni Chowk. There are still people selling silver and gold and other jewelry here, just as they were back in the day, as well as other things such as clothing, leather, fabrics, and other goods. On both sides of the wide Chandni Chowk are historical residential areas served by narrow lanes, several of which are teeming with the peddlers, street vendors, street food, and bazaars. Chandni Chowk's specialty is its variety and authenticity in food, delicacies, and sweets. One of these delicacies is jalebis, which is a type of dough fried in pure ghee, which is clarified butter. The main road in Chandni Chowk starts at the Red Fort at one end and goes all the way down to the Jama Masjid at the other end. The Red Fort historically served as the main residence of Mughal emperors back in the day. The construction of the Red Fort was commissioned in 1639 when the Emperor Shah Jahan decided to move his capital from Agra to Delhi. Originally red and white, the design is credited to architect Ustad Ahmad Lahori, who also constructed the Taj Mahal. This fort represents the peak in Mughal architecture and combines Persian palace architecture with Indian traditions. Look at this cow dressed up in a nice blanket. Cows are considered holy in the Hindu religion, and oftentimes they are left to roam around free in the streets as they please. My first day in India, I drove past about 15 cows just hanging out on the side of the street, unsupervised by humans, and I thought that was pretty wild. I had never seen anything like that before.
Help each other like by giving a food, like they are giving a free food to the people.
Oh, free food?
It is really a good karma when you help some poor people and once they eat it, you feel satisfied like,
Yeah.
well, I have done something good for those people living there.
Yeah. Do they do that every Sunday? Give out free food?
Not every Sunday, like every day, whenever they feel like they collect the money from other people and they do it.
Okay.
There is no particular day for that to do this. The holy days, like special days, they do this.
Yeah.
Most Hindus also do not eat beef. They rely largely on chicken and goat as main sources of protein in their diet. Many of them also consume a largely vegetarian diet. This market lies in the heart of Old Delhi. Old Delhi was built as the capital of the Mughal Empire in the 17th century, which transformed the small village into one of the famous cities of India. New Delhi is now the current capital of India, and it was given that title in 1911. Until 1911, Calcutta was the capital of India during the British rule. However, it had become the center of the nationalist movements since the late 19th century, which led to the partition of Bengal. This created massive political and religious upsurge, including political assassinations of British officials in Calcutta. The anti-colonial sentiments among the public led to a complete boycott of British goods, which forced the colonial government to reunite Bengal and immediately shift the capital to New Delhi. The government of British India felt that it would be logistically easier to administer India from Delhi, which is in the center of northern India.
There's a big wedding season going on. That's the reason, like, some shops are still open.
Oh, really?
They all are selling, like,
India gained its independence from Great Britain in 1947, and New Delhi remained the capital of India. New Delhi is now the largest commercial city in northern India, and it has a vast multi-ethnic and multicultural presence as a cosmopolitan city.
And look at the price for the.
We were walking down some side streets and we found these houses with these really cool doorways that have all this rich color and all this amazing architecture on them. You really find amazing history, colors, and architecture everywhere you look in this country. Alright guys, thank you for watching, and we will continue our journey through India in the next video.